So last night I found myself wide awake with my mind racing until about 5:30 a.m. all because of a passing thought while I was driving yesterday. It all stemmed from a mini road trip that I was doing with my son. We went to the beach, and on this road trip he kept asking me just the usual things that an eager 8-year-old would ask you, like, are we there yet? How much longer? What time is left? What is the GPS saying? Like, he had so many questions. While I'm on my way there, I'm getting distracted and I'm like, just be patient, please, just be patient. We don't have that much longer. Trust the course. It's not like we're gonna end up anywhere else. This is where we're going. Enjoy the trip while we're on the way here so that we can all enjoy ourselves. And as I was driving, after answering about 100 questions, giving the same old answer, like, we're gonna be there soon, just be patient, don't worry, I had a thought come through my mind, and it came back to me in the early hours. And sometimes those things just come flowing through you, and it was something I was actually able to expand on. So it may seem like a silly analogy, but in that moment, the lesson that God wanted to get through to me is to be patient, because no matter what, you are going to get to the destination that you want to be. For myself in my life right now, I don't feel like I am where I'm supposed to be. I don't know where I'm supposed to be. I have certain ideas, certain notions, certain goals, but when it comes to really knowing who I am, I'm still figuring that out. I've been going to God with those questions, like, why aren't I there yet? How much longer do I have? Why does it seem like everybody is passing me by? Like, those kind of questions, very similar to my son asking me, where are we going? How much longer? I just felt like there were certain parallels to that, so I took the time to expand on it. What I kept hearing from God is, you need to prepare for your destination. And my thoughts kind of trailed from there. I'll expand from this beach analogy. You don't just get in your car on a rainy day, take off with no map, no directions, nothing in the trunk, and expect to get to the beach. It requires that preparation, the same way in our lives when we're looking for that partner, for that job, where we're supposed to end up. We need to prepare. We need to assess our surroundings and figure out if we are doing that work to get us to where we want to go. So with the beach, you're going to want to make sure you have a life jacket, sunscreen, bathing suits, change of clothes, towels. I'm trying to think of all the things I packed. Snacks, maybe even a Bluetooth speaker to make it a little more enjoyable. You're not going to want to overpack because you won't have space, but you're going to want to make sure you have the essentials that align with the destination that you have intended to go towards. So if you're waiting for the job, the partner, the advancement, it's going to require preparation. My favorite way for me to prepare in life is to pray, because I feel like I'm going directly to the one who is really planning this whole thing I like to call life, and getting those answers and getting that clarity. I cannot tell you how many times I've opened up my Bible and exactly what I'm feeling, exactly what I'm going through will be like there in writing, the answer, just telling me, like, go forth, do it. When you're already prepared, it gives you the opportunity to embrace things as they come. Every little pit stop, every person that you come across, because you're already prepared, you don't overlook those things. I took the time to make a list of rules and reminders for myself to kind of keep me on track. So the first one, similar to the situation in the car, is to avoid impatience, to try to stay present in the moment, because when you think too far ahead, it can take you places that you're not meant to go. It can increase frustration and really take away from your trip altogether. The second rule is trust the process and analyze the road ahead. You're not going to blindly just take off the same way where if you booked a flight and there was a hurricane, you wouldn't be allowed to fly. Understand your surroundings. If you are going through crisis, if there is emotional turmoil in your life, hurdles you haven't faced, triggers that you have not worked through, you're not going to be ready when you get there, because those things will all come spilling out. Be aware of your surroundings internally and externally before you decide to venture off into your journey. You want to make sure you're actually ready, and you need to be real with yourself. You can't just jump ahead because you want to be there. There's nothing wrong with not being ready, but if you are so far in denial, you're always going to end up disappointed. That leads into my third rule. Bring only what fits with you. Back to that trunk analogy. What do you want in your trunk? What do you want to have when you get to that destination? You don't want to have a negative mindset. You don't want to be filled with doubt and insecurity. You want to be carrying what is meant to get there with you. You need to learn to let the rest go and leave it behind. Something that ties into bringing only what fits with you is choosing not to travel with those who are going to get you lost. I find so many times in my life, especially in my adolescence, I did get lost. I lost focus of my goals, and at times I lost focus of who I am as a human being, who God intended for me to be, because I was surrounded by so many people who genuinely were lost. And in the same way, when you're in a car, you don't want to be with somebody beside you knowing that your GPS is saying go north and they're like, no, 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 go west, because you're gonna get lost, which could prevent you from actually getting where you need to go. Those friends, those colleagues, those people that you constantly go to for guidance might not actually know where they're even going and steer you the wrong way, which is a huge piece in finding where you're meant to be. Because if you are bringing those people along with you, you're never going to get there. Do you ever have one of those friends that are like, oh, let's go to the club, and then all of a sudden when it's time to leave, like they're already gone. They took a taxi, an Uber, whatever, and left you there? Because when it comes to life, that can happen. You might think you're going out with the same intentions and the same purpose as somebody else, uplift each other, and then next thing you know, they found an opportunity that sways them and you are very quickly disregarded. So be extra diligent with who you choose to walk with in life. Another point that I had noted is you need to remind yourself you will arrive when you're meant to. You cannot cut corners, you cannot speed, you cannot drive over the median. I've done that. I have done that. But you can't do those things, because in life, there will always be punishments. The same way that when you're on the road, if a cop sees you doing that, you're gonna get a ticket. You're gonna lose those demerit points if you're Canadian. At times, that could actually take away the destination altogether. You might lose your license. You need to be mindful of the risks you're willing to take to get there a little bit faster than everybody else. Okay, I think we're on number 6 now. I haven't been going through the numbers, sorry. But number 6 is to listen and see the signs that are in front of you, which kind of ties into that last one. I like to think of God as my GPS and my compass when it comes to getting to where I want to go in life. I have had so many signs come up that when I look back, I'm like, okay, wow, yeah, I missed that. I totally missed that. But when you do see those signs and when you are paying attention and when you are connected and listening to that GPS, aka God, your trip is much smoother. You know when to get off, you know when to do these things. The 7th point that I have is try not to be easily influenced by others. We see what everybody else has when it comes to the jobs, the house that they may live in, and that becomes our objective. We see it and we're like, wow, that's a beautiful destination. I want to achieve that. And then that's what we start to work towards. But when it comes to the destination that God has intended for us, we need to remain aware that the destination that is meant for us is not supposed to be identical to somebody else's. There are so many places that are untouched and have so much beauty, and I like to think that that's where we're supposed to go. You don't need to have somebody else's goals become your own just because you feel a little lost. You need to reflect and look inwards and see what actually resonates with you, because when you get there, you might not feel like it fits. And usually that feeling of it not fitting is God telling you that you did not arrive where you were supposed to go, and there's still somewhere out there that you are meant to land. God may intend for your destination to become the blueprint for so many others. What you are meant to do in life, who you are meant to be, who you are meant to be with, might be made that way because there are so many others that are supposed to draw reference from you. You're not supposed to conform to everything else that you see, because what's out there for you is so much more beautiful. So much more beautiful. So number 8 actually ties into that, and it is to avoid taking the wrong turn just because you're following the crowd, because you're following society. So very similar to the last point, I feel like in a lot of our lives, at least where I'm from, there's a specific idea of what success and happiness means. For me, where I live, I find that that can be to go to a good school, get a good job, work a 9 to 5, find a partner that's great, often mediocre. And I mean no disrespect with that, but find a partner that may be that's comfortable. Buy a house because it's easier once you have somebody to split that with. Take on a mortgage, have some kids, work towards retiring, and then that's it. That is the path that society had made for me to follow. I'm from near Toronto, I guess you could say. And that makes me think of the QEW. And if you don't know about the QEW, you are so lucky. But when you're there, you're stuck in traffic. The lanes are moving so slow because it's so congested and everybody's working towards the same thing. And even if you want to switch lanes, you can't even switch lanes because there's somebody else blocking you. That's how I visualize that mindset, where you're just going and flowing and following the traffic to get somewhere you might not even really want to go. And the process at times is not enjoyable. Who wants to live in a house that you barely get to be in because you're focused on working a job that you barely even like, to be with somebody that you don't even really want to be with? All it takes is one choice to change your entire life. Applying for that job, taking that interview, starting a new program in school, booking that flight, just getting out of your surroundings and seeing that there is so much more to life than just what you see every single day on your daily commute. That can change your whole life. And I've had that happen to me many, many times. So I feel like right now where I'm at, I'm just coasting. And I'll probably get into that in another video, but it's huge. Realizing how much free will we actually have when it comes to creating the life that we want is crazy. A small example of that, which I love to draw reference to, is my mom. So my mom's worked in finance pretty much my whole life. And a few years ago, just to maintain good health, she took a yoga class and she absolutely loved it. It's good times. And one day she came to our family and was like, you know what guys, I'm going to Costa Rica for a month. I'm going to become a certified yoga instructor. And at first we're all like, oh my gosh, that's a little nutty, but like, we support you, do your thing. My whole family's a little nutty, so of course we're gonna encourage her to go ahead. And she did. And she became certified, and now because of that, yes, she's still in finance, but she is able to, in her off hours, instruct yoga classes, build community, and she inspires others to maintain their health in that way, which is so fulfilling. And I am so proud of her. But could you imagine she didn't do that as a choice, that she just felt like she had to keep doing what she's doing? Now she can profit off of it, which is great. And she's got a little jar where she's saving money to take us on vacation. And I'm like, go instruct that yoga, mom, get it. But yeah, you are always just one choice away from changing your life. It can be today, it can be tomorrow. Just remember that, because you might end up one day looking back and all you have is a pension and a mortgage, and that mortgage is still not even paid off after all that. Madness. Okay. Number 9 is, it's not about what kind of car you drive or how it looks. It's all about finding that vehicle or that method of getting to where you need to go in the safest, most reliable, and efficient way. Number 11, which is the last rule that I made for getting to where you are destined to be, is embrace your mentors. And also you must be able to discern who's been sent in your life to guide you towards your purpose and towards your path, or who's meant to distract and take away from it. I've been so blessed to have so many people in my life, whether it be friends, colleagues, some people I've never even gotten to meet in person, but they have had major impacts on my journey. Those are the people you need, the ones that help you avoid those potholes and that damage that you don't need, you just don't need. Even though sometimes it's fun and thrilling to take that route, they will guide you. They will not distract you. When I was reflecting on all of this and all the rules and steps that just kind of came to me, all due to my son's little comment, it kind of made me think about a time in my life where I wasn't doing that, where I was ignoring the signs, where I was taking on more than I needed to. And I figured I'd give you guys a quick little example of that and draw on my personal experience, because it just makes it a little more real. So for me, I feel like in the last few videos I keep talking about my past relationship, but that is something that I've just finally gotten to a point of being able to start over. So when I was engaged, God gave me the signs, and let me tell you, I was not listening to him. So after we got engaged, we started the wedding planning process, and it is what it is. It was pretty one-sided. I was trying to get everything done, and he just wasn't as invested in it, which is totally okay. He was doing his own thing too. So I was putting a lot of energy, and with this like little metaphor, I guess you could say gas, into getting things going when it came to the wedding. So the first venue was beautiful. I had this idea of getting married at an Airbnb property where we could have the wedding party stay and like have an area where there's so much space that the wedding could be done there, but at the same time it was almost like we had a mini getaway. So our first location I found, beautiful. We were ready to put our deposit down. It was on the bridal path, gorgeous, 10 out of 10, exactly what I thought we'd want. My partner at the time agreed to it as well. And then the first sign from God came. And it could not have been more clear. They actually had to shut down the Airbnb because there was a shooting, and I was like, oh my gosh. I guess there was like a high school party. I don't believe there was any fatalities or anything like that, but because there was a shooting, they closed the whole venue down, and that was written off. Then we moved on to venue number 2. It was out in King City, nice, spacious. There was a pool, bedrooms, like similar vibe, different, but at this point we actually were able to give our deposit, and I want to say about a week or 2 later, the money is sent back to our account, and we get an email from her, and the email essentially says she was reported to bylaw because she didn't have specific permitting, and she's no longer able to function as an event facility. So unless we were planning on just staying there and not having our wedding there, we would no longer be able to use it. So we got our money back, and that was sign number 2. God was like, you're not supposed to marry him. What are you not getting? But anyways, I was determined. I was like, this is it. This is the love of my life. We're gonna get married. Doesn't matter. And we found our third destination. Gorgeous. I thought the sign in this was that those two weren't supposed to work out because it was supposed to be this venue, because this venue was insane. There was a guest house like for the in-laws, so even parents could stay there, and there was a whole quarry, I don't know, where people could go fishing. There was hiking trails, there was a pool, there was 8 bedrooms. It was perfect. It was everything that we had wanted at a much more affordable price, and it felt like this was it. This is where it was gonna be. And then you know what happened? That third sign came, and you know what it was? COVID. The whole world shut down. Once again, we got it refunded, and all venues were like, yeah, no, we're not operating, you can't have weddings. And that was that. And in that time throughout COVID, that's when things started to shift with my former partner, and I saw parts of him that no longer aligned with me at all. That was not what was destined for me, even though I wanted it to be so badly. Back to the whole metaphor of the car, it took me 2 years to unpack my trunk because it was full of other people's stuff. Luggage, baggage, I don't even know. It was full of so many things, and I had to unpack and unpack and unpack through therapy, through prayer, through all different means. It took me 2 whole years to finally clear out my trunk so that I had space to put the things that were actually meant to be in there. So that's where I'm at now. My trunk's like starting to slowly refill, and things are a little more clear as to where I'm meant to go. It sounds funny, but yeah, all of this came from my son just saying, are we there yet? Yeah. So remember, be mindful of your environment, your surroundings, the mindset you're bringing with you, the people you're bringing with you. Make sure your tank is full before you go, and don't bring anybody with you that is going to have you driving around in circles, getting lost, burning all the gas that you have, the energy that you have, taking you away from where you're meant to be. I hope this helps. It helps me. That's the whole point of me doing this. That's why I wanted to create my little video diary, so that all these things in my head that keep me up have a little bit of purpose. I normally write it all down in my journal, but I think I'm finally at a stage in my life where I've unpacked so much personally that I'm comfortable with sharing. And I hope you get to wherever you are meant to be. I would love to support you. If you have an idea of where that is, I would love to hear about it. You can comment down below if you feel comfortable with it, or send me a DM. I'll link my socials in the description. But yeah, just remember, where you are meant to go is for you, and it is beautiful. Bye.